G'day everyone, it's SDS SuperCoach, providing SuperCoach content for you. I'm here to present my initial reaction. I mean, it was 10 days ago that this was announced, but I guess just talking about our thoughts on AFL SuperCoach's decision on whether skipping the buy round was the right move. We'll also talk about how many trades we should have, and also talk about the boosts, that sort of thing. And I'm joined by, the first time on the channel, Big J for Centre Bounce. Welcome, Big J. How are we?
Thank you very much for having me. I'm doing quite well. It's nice to be on work holidays and yeah, kind of just getting into some super coach. Lots of content coming out before it opens for everyone that doesn't have gold, kind of middle of January.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure, I'll be doing a lot more collaborations throughout the preseason. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, I had to get my man Big J involved with this for sure. We just recorded a video before, so yeah, a bit of a tag team here for tonight. And yeah, let's get into it. So let's talk about, I guess, the decision with. I know JD from Fantasy Take TV came up with an idea to do best 10 in opening round. There were also
Mm-hmm.
other ideas of the wild card or the free hit round where we just build a team for that round and then it resets. But AFL Supercoach have landed on the decision to skip the opening round. What do you overall reckon on this decision? Did you like it or not?
Um, to be honest, I'm pretty happy with it. It kind of follows on a little bit with what Fantasy's done, right? So they've kind of said, cool, we're going to do this. Supercoach just followed along. Um, I think that if you can make the game less confusing and more accessible for all the casual players that are playing, the better.
Yeah, and I think that's what's happened with the super coach's decision. I think their main decision is we want to keep as many people interested in playing the game as
Mm.
possible, and just keep building up the numbers into the game. If we did best 10 and that sort of thing, might have been a little bit too confusing. So I wasn't I originally didn't like the idea of skipping it, but I've
Mm-hmm.
really warmed to the idea. So I'm pretty
Yeah,
fine with it.
definitely.
I'm
I
pretty
think
fine
one of
with
the big
it.
things, I think one of the big things as well is that because round one, all the teams are playing, like it kind of beats cool. Everyone can start off from a starting point, right? If you
Yeah.
had it, oh, cool. Like we have to make some weird development round, 10 players, whatever, for that round zero. I think it's going to end up being too confusing and too awkward for a lot of people. Oh, you have to make a team with like 3 players or 5 players, or like I make a team and then it gets reset again. Like it's just not going to work out well.
Yeah, and I think Supercoach have probably made the best decision just to make
Mm.
it easy for everyone. So I don't mind it. We start round one, Richmond Carlton as it usually should be, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and they just made the best out of the situation where the with how scuffed the fixture is for this year. Hopefully, the NRL don't go to Vegas every year. Hopefully, this is just a one-off until Tassie comes in, and then they'll be even more of a mess. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So yeah, look, starting in round one, not opening round, and I guess another thing as well is we get to see nearly half the competition played an official AFL match before picking our SuperCoach team, which is a big bonus. And
Mm.
the scores will be taken into consideration, but it doesn't count towards our score. We're not playing an opening round, but they do take into consideration the players' scores, and that'll affect their prices. So round zero will tell us everything. If Sam Walsh scores a 70, I don't think many people are picking him. If bloody hell, if Taylor Adams scores 130, I think he'll be extremely popular in our Supercoach team. So I think that's how it's going to go. So yeah, look, as you guys can see on the screen here, there's a little bit to take in, but I'm sure most of you guys would have read this already. But it's just a quick little update on that. I guess the next thing I want to talk, or have you got anything else?
I think we're going to see a lot of recency bias. I mean, we always do for the preseason games, but mate, if some rando like mid-pricer comes out and pops out a 120 because half a team's missing their players, every single person is going to put this guy in their team.
Yeah.
even if they have the bye later on. So I think, yes, we get to see half the teams, like you say. It does create some interesting things with best 18s later on, which I think we'll touch on. But yeah, there's going to be so much recency bias. It's going to be hilarious to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And just one more thing before we talk about trades and boosts. With your current premium structure, I don't remember your team
Mm-hmm.
off by heart, but what's the rough mix with like premiums with the early buy and premiums without the buy? Currently at the minute for me, I've got 7 premiums with the round 0 buy. I've got 5 premiums with that they're playing an early buy. So teams that are playing an opening round, I've got 5 premiums. What's your mix?
I'm not sure of the exact numbers at the moment, but something I've shifted towards over the last few days has been how many premiums can I get in my side that aren't playing the buys, like the early buys at all? Because it means, hey, look, as it says down the bottom, best 18 players during those early buys. I could end up having 13 or 14 premiums on the park, scoring big points. Whereas other people, because they've brought in players into their team that aren't, that aren't playing that week, it's really going to mean like get those advantages, get those early points in as soon as you can, and create that big gap. Right? We've
Yep.
seen other years with SuperCoach where the person who does really well in the first 3 or 4 rounds, we've talked about, cool, the top 10's been locked in at round 6. The season's almost finished. You can't win the game anymore. So if you can get that advantage early with having a lot of premiums in your team or high scoring players that aren't going to be doing that aren't going to have the week off, you might be versing someone in your league as well that have like 5 or 6 guys out for a week, especially that first one, right? Is it Carlton Brisbane, the first one?
Yeah, Brisbane Carlton in round 2
Yeah.
after
So if
the
if
bye.
you've got someone that's picked Dunkley or Neil and Walsh and a couple of other players, mate, I've got a full team and you've got like 3 or 4 premiums less than me.
Yeah.
A rookie can score a high or a low score, but I'm getting a lot more consistency through there. So I think kind of you don't have to be as aggressive in those early rounds, but try and lock in as many good scoring players as you can. That's kind of what I'm going with at the moment.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's given me a little bit of thought there with my current team. Maybe just lock in just absolute locks, even if they're playing round 0 for now. I guess you can pick, but maybe blokes that you don't need. Maybe you don't need a day cost. Maybe you don't need a Gorn, stuff like that. So maybe it's just something to consider. Anyway, so we all know this. Now let's go to the stuff we don't know yet. Supercoach
Yep.
hasn't opened yet. There's something that I find interesting in this article from Herald Sun. What about extra trades? Any changes to the number of allocated trades will be announced in January, along with the full gameplay details for 2024. I just wonder if is that a mini hint that they could add even more trades or not? Because personally, I wouldn't like it. So if they went with extra trades, let's say 40, would you like that?
Mm. Um, it's okay. I would rather have it similar to, I think AFL Fantasy has it as, cool, you can trade like 2 players every week, right? And then they have the buy. So if it went to a similar number that what they're doing, I think it would be great. I always find, because I go through, especially with boosts, and like burn through my trades really early. I think last year it was like, oh, first 10 weeks I had spent like 15 or 18 trades. So it was crazy. I ran out of trades towards the end of the season, so it made things a bit tougher. I'm a big advocate on more trades, basically. I think gone are the days where we used to have 30 trades and that was it, because the game's not the same game anymore. There's more rounds, there's early buys and things like that. It also helps to keep a lot more of the casual players in the game, because I know there's always that big hump after the buys. People have spent all their trades and they just stop playing. And it's like, cool, oh, okay, this week I just make a captain and that's it.
Yeah.
So if more trades means people play the game for longer, then I'm a big advocate for it.
Fair enough. I'm probably on the opposite end of where you come from. I personally want to see a few less coming into the season. So the magic number I've come up with is 32 trades and 3 boosts. So in my
Okay.
opinion, this makes boosts more valuable, more important. Like 5
Mm-hmm.
trade boosts, you just burn through them. because they're not as valuable. Where if you bring it down to 3, I think there's a little bit more. It's a little bit more tactical on when to play them.
Yep.
I think I would have said 30 trades, but I think with the extra, as you were saying, the extra rounds, the buys, more 1 week suspensions, that sort of thing. Sub, but I don't know whether that's going to stay or not. So I've landed on 32. That I would probably like. Now I guess you're more on the 40 trade market.
Not so much 40. If it stayed, what did we have last year? If we had like 36 last year?
Yep.
Yeah. So if it stayed with that number, I'm okay.
Oh,
Because I think that
yeah,
we're okay with the first couple of rounds being with the bye rounds because it's only best 18. So I think there's a bit more of that. There's less feeling like, cool, I've missed out on this premium. I've now got to trade them in. Otherwise, I'm going to fall behind the pack. Or one of my guys who's a regular guy on field has now got a 1 week suspension or a 1 week hammy or something. I need to trade him out to keep with the pack because it's best 18. As long as everyone's playing, I think you're okay. So hopefully I'm not spending a lot of trades within the first 7 rounds. But yeah, I'd be okay with kind of 36, how we are this year.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate it if we were on 36. It's just I think they've added. I remember that they added extra trades just in 2020 just due to the due to COVID. But that's gone now. I think we can go back to 32 and that sort of thing. I think they went from 32 to 35. I think in 20.
I think a lot of that as well. Was the like roaming fixture, right? We had times when cool players had to move, and then this team now is versing this team, or the bye round changes. I remember West Coast was playing an earlier bye, and then they're playing a later bye. So to account for your players being in those teams, you got a couple of extra trades potentially to move guys around. So as you say, that's all finished, which is great for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Look, it's going to be an interesting season, that's for sure. Probably a season that we haven't had in a very long time. It will be the weirdest season probably since 2020. So it'll be pretty interesting to see how everyone goes with that. Any more final thoughts or suggestions? Oh no, sorry, one more thing. I personally think I don't think they'll do it this year, but this is an idea from Shorty SuperCoach when he did trades that he wanted to, changes that he would like to see in SuperCoach. It's an addition. So, do you play FPL, Jay? Fantasy Premier League? No, you don't. That's all right. So what they did, so they had the World Cup in the 2022-23 season, and that left that was a month break from the Premier League. What they did when the games returned is a second chance competition. So there's the overall rank, and there's a second chance. So could just be the overall winner. But after the World Cup, they did a second chance competition where it's your score resets from that point, and it's just a competition from game week 17 till the final end of the season. Whoever had the most points between that period, I think, won like a booth at a Premier League game, that sort of thing. I think AFL SuperCoach could do a very similar thing to keep people interested in the game. So maybe after the bye rounds, so from round 16 to 24, they could do a second chance sort of thing like FPL did. So in those 8-9 weeks, whoever scores the most points, I don't know, gets 2 grand final tickets or 5-10 grand, that sort of thing. So that might just be another way to keep people engaged in SuperCoach. And I really like the idea of, it was from FPL Fantasy Premier League, but I like to see that incorporated in SuperCoach. What would you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, as I was saying before, right? Anything to keep casuals or people into the game, because I love SuperCoach. Like SuperCoach is fantastic. Yep. Anything to keep those people into the game in the second half of the season is a yes for me. Even myself, like I would start up maybe not a second team, but if there was availability to continue with your team now and then jump into something like that with another team would be
Yeah.
great too. Maybe have it like, cool, after the buy rounds, you've got $5 million and half a dozen players that you've got to choose or
Yeah.
something, they figure it out there. Because you just don't have the rookies to actually appreciate in price to be able to do stuff. So yeah, I don't know how they would do it, but more the merrier there too. I had an idea before about doing something where if a player doesn't play on your team or is injury ridden for a few weeks, then being able to trade them out for free as well, which might help a few more people. I thought that was a good idea. So potentially having my guy on the bench hasn't played for 4 or 5 weeks, because we always have those dead rookies, right? In the second half of the season, just being able to trade them out for someone who's a similar price. What would be a good way as well to kind of keep people engaged?
Yeah, just any sort of way to keep people engaged towards the latter end of the season. Another idea I just randomly thought in my head, another fantasy Premier League sort of thing where they do, do you know the FA Cup?
Yeah.
So Fantasy Premier League did the same thing. 10 million people play the game every year. And they did an FA Cup knockout for everyone. So like, I don't know, how many people play SuperCoach? About 150,000?
Yeah, something like
And you
that.
do a knockout round every single week until we get a winner, an FA Cup final. Could be this bloke and this bloke who outscored their individual opponent every single week until the grand final or the final. So it's like a cup league. So it's just a knockout competition that you could add as well. I guess it's similar to maybe like an in-season tournament sort of thing in the NBA or that sort of thing. So I don't know. That's just an idea I'm throwing up off the top of my head. So as I was going to say, any final thoughts?
I think there'll be some decent changes because of round 0 happening. And that's why they've put in there, cool, what's going to happen with the extra trades? I don't think at the moment, like all the rules are kind of set in stone as well. So things might change kind of end of January. And yeah, kind of just jump on and enjoy the ride. I mean, people didn't like boosts and then boosts came in and now everyone loves boosts and a few other things have happened. So, I trust Harold Sun and the guys running that they won't make too many bad mistakes.
Yeah, the boys at everyone at Herald Sun that runs SuperCoach do a fantastic job. Work super hard to please everyone as best as they can, and obviously they're doing a great job. So look, I think we'll end it there. That was a good summary. Big J, thank you so much for jumping onto the channel. What are your plans over the off season for content?
We'll have lots of player reviews coming out like normal. Hitting a few players on our radar in different positions as well. So I'll be up recording those and then kind of just anything as it goes. There's a lot of stuff you can do now before the game opens for everyone, but once the rules are set in place, there's some stuff there. So hopefully the fans on this channel can jump on and kind of see what's up on the centre bounce.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Big J. Great to have you on the channel. You're a great man. So it was good doing an afternoon of recording there. So thank you guys very much for watching. Hopefully we can get to 1,000 subs before round 1, 2024, not opening round 1, 2024. Hopefully we can get there. Thank you guys so much for watching and we'll see you in the next video. See you guys.
Bye.